Hey, next one from Annie. Do you have a tip for how to generate a concise name like marketing for hippies after clarifying Island A, B, and the boat? Okay, good question, Annie. How do you name your stuff? Well, Annie, where are you zooming in from?
I'm in Enfield, New Hampshire.
Okay, never been there, but I have been to New Hampshire. Oh man, it's so beautiful there.
It is.
It's just gorgeous. Autumn, I drove through New Hampshire in autumn and I just thank my lucky stars that once in my life I got to have that experience. Um, okay, naming stuff. Well, first of all, if you go to my website, just search like 7 ways to name things on my website in the search bar. I think it'll come up. But I did write a piece about this because you have multiple ways to name things. So that article will give you 7. But in general, I just want to lift up why this matters so much is so most of business, most of marketing ultimately comes down to word of mouth at the end of the day. That's the in the short term, you can get away you can do a lot of Facebook ads and pump a bunch of money in, you can get a lot of attention. That can work for I'm doing it, with a good woman, Laura Eastburn, and she's crushing it. But ultimately, in the long term, reputation is the thing. It's almost that's the basis of most marketing. So, but with word of mouth marketing, and I've got a whole playlist on word of mouth marketing for those interested. There are these 3 levels of word of mouth. The least important, but still important, maybe 1% of it, is you got to make it worthwhile for people to spread the word. Say thank you when people spread the word, acknowledge the people who are doing it. 2, you got to make it easy for them to spread the word. 3, you got to make it remarkable and worthwhile that they would actually want to spread the word. But the number 2, making it easy, is the thing I want to focus on. Because if the name of your business is confusing or hard to remember, you are just so seriously undercutting yourself. So it's really important to name things. We don't have to be clever. Just be obvious. It just has to be a name they can remember that will survive the third sangria, when people are hanging out with each other. And now, so particularly though, the name marketing for hippies, there's another blog post, marketingforhippies.com/oxymoronic is the URL. And I noticed this years ago that the certain business names really caught me because they were kind of oxymorons, like marketing and hippies together. It just seems like a contradiction in terms, that they shouldn't go together. But the fact that they shouldn't go together is what makes it interesting. And in that blog post, you'll see a ton of examples of this. There's a lot. So one of the ways I didn't come to that consciously. I wasn't trying to strategize. People would just say, "What do you do?" And I'd joke. I said, "Marketing for hippies." And one day I thought, "Oh, I wonder if that website's available." But what that joke was an admission of is I'm trying to merge 2 worlds that don't normally go together, right? So it's worth thinking about this is what worlds am I trying to bring together? Are there 2 communities, 2 philosophies, 2 things that seem contradictory and that is why people find my work and my approach so interesting? It's worth thinking that through. What's the contrast? That's I suppose in the background where the name came from was acknowledging that there was a contrast. So that's what I've got. How does that all land for you?
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. I'm creating a podcast called Heal Your Trauma, Find Your Voice, and I feel clear about that and how I'm going to be describing that. And I have a private coaching practice that I've had for decades. But I'm not a pithy person, but I like something like, marketing for hippies or, that kind of a phrase that makes it easy instead of just, trauma resolution and effective communication for like it's too intellectual.
Yes, it's the best advice I can give is just sometimes we have to schedule time and brainstorm. Like I'm gonna take half an hour, and that's all I'm doing is just riffing, just me and a piece of paper. I'm just gonna see what I can come up with. Um, as names. And sometimes you could also put it out to your clients. You can put it out to your following on social media, email your list. Say, I'm looking for a name and I can't quite land on something. Um, and then, there's a certain reality that there's just grace in this. Sometimes the name just drops out of nowhere. Um, but it's good to keep your ear open, because sometimes I've seen people be on the receiving end of the most amazing ideas, and they don't write it down. And I can tell, oh, they're just going to forget. So that's what I would say about that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.